Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Today we are going to learn about organizing. And as you know that what is organizing, we just go back to the basic definition of planning. Planning is setting the goals and deciding how best to achieve them. Then organizing function is arranging and allocating human and non-human resources to achieve the goals. Now, one of the things in organizing is making organizational structure and design. And that's the chapter which we are going to discuss about. We will discuss the elements of organizational structure, the 6 basic elements, and we will discuss some of the designs and contemporary designs as well as the traditional designs and some contemporary issues. So let's see what we have in this chapter. We have these learning outcomes. We will describe the 6 key elements in organizational design. We will discuss the contingency factors that favor either the mechanistic model or the organic model of organizational design. We will compare and contrast traditional and contemporary organizational designs and discuss the design challenges faced by today's organizations. So contemporary issues related to organizational designs. Describe key elements in organizational design. The 6 key elements are work specialization, departmentalization, authority and responsibility, span of control, centralization and decentralization, and formalization. Work specialization. Early management writers, what they saw and observed in the industry, that if the jobs are specialized, then people become more efficient in their jobs, in doing their jobs, and that efficiency can be utilized in the favor of organization performance. So that's graph shows that as you specialize more and more, the productivity goes up. But at certain level, when you specialize more than that, then the impact from human diseconomies occurs. What that means is that when the jobs are more highly specialized, then people start having boredom there. They start, because of the boredom, they do absenteeism is there is high turnover, they leave the jobs and trying to find another jobs and so on. So, and this results in diseconomies. So the productivity overall goes down. So the work specialization should be ideally at which the maximum productivity occurs. To give you an example, let's say a company is making tables and chairs as a furniture company which is making tables and chairs, and they have 3 departments. Let's say it has a design department, it has a carpentry department, and it has this painting and varnishing department. Now, if the carpenters are further specialized, that some are making only drawers and some are making only the rest of the table, then what will happen is this, that productivity may go up. But if we go further specialization, let's say the carpenters are doing part of the job and they are not completing the rest of the tables, and they're just doing only part of the job, then this will result in kind of a diseconomy, because people get bored if they cannot relate the job itself, if they are doing only a part of job. So this creates boredom, and it results in people getting tired, absenteeism, and leaving their place and trying to find another jobs. The carpentry and the carpentry department and painting and varnishing departments are already specialized jobs, we can say that. So work specialization is one element of making organizational structure or organizational design. The second part is when you specialize the jobs, then you group the jobs. And that grouping of the jobs is called departmentalization. There are several ways we can group the jobs. We can do it functional departmentalization, product departmentalization, customer, geographic, and process. Functional is according to the employees or groups, employees which are trained in that area. So, for example, engineering, accounting, information system, human resources, marketing, etc. They are grouped according to their specialization. That is functional departmentalization. Product specialization is departmentalization is grouping the employees based on product area in the corporation, for example, women's footwear, men's footwear, and apparel and accessories, etc. Customer specialization is according to the groups them employees based on customers' problems and needs. It has been seen that the type of customers have similar problems and needs, so they can be grouped according to the customers, like, for example, wholesale customers, retail customers, government customers, or according to industrial goods and consumer goods. So this is the way to group the employees. Another way to group the employees is geographic. It's based on location. For example, north, south, midwest, east, like North Batna, South Batna, Sharqiya, Muscat region, Bathina, etc. Another grouping is process. Groups employees based on the basis of work or customer flow, for example, testing, payment, and this kind of, according to the process, the grouping is there. Okay, so we have functional departmentalization. Functional departmentalization is used when organization design on the basis of the operations performed by a unit. Like we have president, and we have vice president marketing, vice president production, and vice president finance. Now, under vice president marketing, all the people working under him will be the marketing people. They will be speaking the same language, same terminology, and same expertise. All of them have the same expertise. So this is kind of a functional departmentalization, which is according to grouping according to their specialization. Each of these functional department carries out its assigned part of the total business. Then we have discipline-based organization. Discipline-based organization, we can say, is very similar to functional departmentalization. We have engineering dean, and then we have head of the department of mechanical, or sometimes they are called chairman mechanical engineering, chairman electrical, chairman industrial engineering, or head of the department of industrial engineering, etc. Product departmentalization. Product departmentalization according to the products the organization is making. Like we have an organization which is making soap products, cleansing products, margarine products. So these are according to the product, these specializations are there. One thing to be noted here, that the specialization shown here are according to the products. Then under them, that there are different levels of management. It is possible that the next level of management Under the soap product, for example, it may be functional departmentalization, or it may be according to the geographic departmentalization. So it's possible that in an organization, at each layer of management, there may have different departmentalization. Next is customer departmentalization. The customer departmentalization involves a grouping of activities based on the customers served or customers' needs. And we have consumer goods, for example, and industrial goods. So this is according to the customer needs. These are groupings or departmentalizations. Process departmentalization. Process is according to the the flow of the process. For example, here we have shown that there is a lathe cutting department. Once the lathe cutting is finished, the material goes for treatment. So treatment of material is there. And then once the treatment is done, then it goes to another department, which is painting. So it's kind of a flow there. We have also in health department, we can say there's a process departmentalization. You go, you check in, and you first register. The patient registers, then it goes to the next department, we can say, is nursing department. They will look at your statistics like blood pressure, like heartbeat, any temperature, etc. And then after that, it will be referred to the doctor. The doctor will check, and then it is referred to the then the doctor gives the prescribe the medicine. You go to the pharmacy and buy or take the medicine from the pharmacy. So this is kind of a process thing. Similarly, getting a license from police there is a kind of a process departmentalization is there. Geographic departmentalization is according to the geographic areas. So for example, here chairman, chief executive officer is there, or chairman or chief executive officer is there, and then there are regional managers like Northeast, Midwest, Southeast, Southwest, and Pacific. And then there are general managers in these big cities, New York, Philadelphia, Boston, etc. We can say in Oman there are regions like Sharqiya, Batina, North Batina, South Batina. We have Muscat region, we have Musandam, we have Dhofar, etc. These are the regions. And then according to that regions, there are cities, big cities, that may be having general managers there. So this is the geographic departmentalization. Now, matrix organization or matrix departmentalization is interesting because it has two bosses. We have functional control or functional managers are there, like engineering, production, logistic. These are the functional areas. And then we have people from engineering, production, and logistic or design or different departments are coming to work on projects. So there is a project-based control here. Maybe a project manager will be here. Project manager will be here. Who will be the boss? So there is a project manager boss, and then there is, for example, a boss on the engineering side, and there is a boss on the production side, etc. This kind of organization has two bosses, and it has its advantages and disadvantages. The advantages are that the workforce can be efficiently utilized if the people if there is no project, people will be working to their parents' department. But if there are projects, and there is a need for people to take them from the functional departments. They can be used in the projects and so on. So there is a flexibility there. The con side, the negative side, is that since there are two bosses, sometimes communication problems occur, some misunderstandings may occur, etc. So these are the basic things. Other than that, it seems that it's a flexible type of arrangement which some of the organizations do. Team organization is similar to matrix organization, but here we can say that the people, members who have come to work in a team, they are kind of on loan, and they will not work in their parents' department until the work is finished. Departmental basis selection. We have discussed several different types of bases. We have discussed process departmentalization, geographic, functional, process, customer, product, etc. Different departmentalizations have been, we have checked it. So the question may be asked, what should be the basis of selection of these different departmentalization or groupings? The selecting an appropriate departmental basis should be based on the advantages and disadvantages of each alternative. Basically, what you look for is the proper utilization of resources and efficient utilization of resources, and also which basis gives better coordination and control. So we can say that the important criteria in determining departmental bases are that which approach or basis permits the maximum use of special technical knowledge, which means human utilization, human resource utilization, and another which approach provides the most efficient utilization of machinery and equipment, so non-human resources. And then which approach provides the best hope of obtaining the required control and coordination. So these are the bases on which this departments should be grouped. The next topic is types of authority relationship. We have next topic is authority. The next element of organizational structure is the authority, and here we are showing the types of authority relationship. Here this is showing the chain of command. We have a manager here, then a senior manager and vice president, etc., and the president. So this is kind of and the chief executive officer. We have a kind of a chain of command there. Chain of command is senior subordinate relationship is called chain of command. Here we are showing the line and staff authority. Line people are those who are responsible to bring product in the market. So maybe production department and marketing department are line people. The other staff, other people who are helping them to develop the product, or to help them in their salaries, in their purchasing, etc. The other departments like purchasing department or like human resource department, etc. These people or these departments are helping. So these are called staff people, and the line people are those who are directly responsible to bring the product or bring the service, whatever. For example, here in university, faculty members and the technical staff are directly responsible to impart the education, the undergraduate education, and the others departments like public relations department or personnel department or finance department, etc. They are helping us. So these are staff people, whereas line people are faculty and the technical staff. Unity of command. A structure in which employee reports to only one manager is called unity of command, that you have only one manager to report, not two managers, etc. So unity of command is kind of a very important aspect of traditional departmentalization, in which the unity of command was always respected. Now, how do authority and power differ? There is one thing which is called authority and another is called power. These are two different concepts. Authority is a legitimate legal right given to the organizational right to make decisions, and it comes with the position. Whereas power is an individual ability to influence decisions. It doesn't have to be that he has authority, given legal right to make decisions, but he can influence the decision, or he or she can influence the decision. So he is or she is powerful. That individual ability to influence the decisions is called power. It's actually a three-dimensional concept. In the upper figure, we see the authority is according to the positions. In job position, you have authority. It is the higher the position is, and the more authority is there, and the more power is also there. But if we look at the second figure, which is showing a cone, then this shows the concept, a three-dimensional concept of hierarchy relation. We have a power core inside, and then there are wedges of the cones. The wedges of the cones are like these different functional departments like finance, accounting, marketing, production, research and development, human resources. These are the wedges of the cone. And now the power core concept is that as someone is near to the power core, and this is the power core which is inside this cone. This is power core, and as someone is working near to this power core, he can influence the decisions, and he's more powerful. One can see that as people rise to their top level, they start coming closer to the power core, and the higher you are, the more authority you have and the more power you can have. Now there are different types of powers, like coercive power, power based on fear. There is reward power, power based on the ability to distribute something that other values. There is a legitimate power, power based on one's position in the formal hierarchy. This is like authority. Expert power is power based on one's expertise, special skill or knowledge. Just to give you an example, for example, it is possible that a technician may have expert power, that he can people rely on his expertise. For example, a distribution is working in a distribution area, and if let's say there is a fault on a feeder, and this technician is required to remove the fault as quickly as possible because he's quite expert. Because of his expertise, there is a respect. He commands respect from his seniors, and he can also influence. He can make vasta, he can make reference, etc. So because of his expertise, he can influence the decisions. That's expert power. The legal advisors, for example, in organizations have expert power because they can give their expert opinion on the things. Referent power is power based on identification with a person who has desirable resources or personal traits. Like, for example, you have a chief executive officer, and it's his secretary, for example, has a referent power because he is meeting with him every day, and maybe 5 times in a day or 10 times in a day. He can influence in some way or another because he has a referent power, or she has a referent power. That secretary is kind of having a referent power, which means that he is associated with someone who is powerful, who has the authority, so he can influence the decisions. The next element is span of control. So we have already discussed 3 elements. And what we have discussed the work specialization, we have discussed departmentalization, and we have discussed many different types of way of grouping the specialization, that we call it departmentalization. We have discussed that. We have discussed authority. We discussed that what is unity of command, what is chain of command, and we have discussed the difference between authority and power. Now the next topic comes is span of control, and span of control has its effects on the organizational shape. The span of control has important implication on the shape of the organizational structure. As the span of control decreases, the number of managerial levels increases. What is span of control? Span of control is how many number of employees a manager supervises. So the more number of employees are supervised, the more span of control, the larger span of control is there. If there is less number of employees are supervised, then it is called a narrow span of control. So as the span of control decreases, the number of managerial levels increases. A wider span of control shortens the communication channel but provides less supervision, and a narrow span of control lengthens the communication channel because we have more managerial layers and increases the supervision expenses. This can be explained with the help of this diagrams. We have on the upper on the slide, we have upper organizational structure here, which is a taller structure. We have 1, 2, and 3 layers of management inside between the lowest managers and the chief executive. So we have 3 levels. We can say this is first level, this is second, this is third, and then we have employees here. We can see that it's a taller structure, and then we on the down below there is another figure showing a flatter structure. A flat hierarchy is shown here, where we have only one managerial layer between the employee and the chief executive. So we can see over here that the communication channel lengthens when we have narrow span of control. Narrow span of control here is that this manager is having only 2 employees to supervise. Here, for example, in the below diagram, we can see that one manager has 4 employees, whereas above diagram we see a manager has 2 employees to supervise. And this way you can see that we can make the span of control flatter, then we can remove managerial levels, and this is possible. You can see over here that these levels are removed in the flatter structure. All right, so let's see now. Next, the span of control is most effective and efficient span depends on employee experience and training. More they have, we can make a larger span of control. If there is a similarity of employee tasks, the more similarity, we can make larger span. However, if the tasks are complex, then we can have a smaller span of control. The next topic is centralization and decentralization. Centralization is decision making that takes place at upper levels of the organization, that is centralization, and decentralization is that lower level managers provide input or actually make decisions. This is called decentralization. Organizations can decide whether there is a centralization or if they want to decentralize so that the lower level managers can make their decisions also. However, the important decisions still will be with the upper management. There are advantages and disadvantages of decentralization. The advantages are that decentralization encourages managers to develop their decision-making abilities because they now can make their decisions, so their decision-making abilities is developed. They can decentralization provides a competitive climate, so managers can prove themselves and advance in their jobs. So the senior managers, if they have given the authority, decision-making authority downward to the managers, that senior manager can see the performance of his subordinates, the managers under him, that who has proved better. So it creates a competitive climate, and this is good. Healthy competition is good in the organization, so that people try to perform and they will be rewarded accordingly. And decentralization can lead to managerial creativity and ingenuity, since it allows more autonomy. Because when people are making decisions, and they will be more creative, and this help them to develop their managerial skills, and it is good for the individuals. Whereas there are disadvantages as well. Decentralization has disadvantages. Decentralization of authority usually requires more intensive and expensive management training. Why? Because when people are given right to make decisions, when the lower management is given rights to make decisions, and they may misuse the powers, they may misuse their authority, and for that purpose there is intensive and expensive management training may be required. This is one of the disadvantages there. Another disadvantage is that decentralization also requires more sophisticated planning and reporting methods, so that there is a proper control there. Otherwise, misuse of resources may occur, misuse of power and authority may occur. Another thing which is quoted as a disadvantage is that some managers, top managers, they do not like to delegate the portion of their decision-making authority to middle and first level manager because they see themselves that their power has been weakened. This is kind of a natural thing that people would like that the lower employees, lower managements, they give him salam, they come to his office, they say how good you are looking, how smart you are. But if that person is no more having this decision making authority given to the lower managers, then there is no need for employees to go to the top managers to say salam to him, or to say that how good he is looking, or how beautiful he is or she is looking, etc. So this is the thing which some managers may not, senior managers may not like it. Formalization. The last element is the formalization of organizational structure. Formalization, which is what it is, the standardization of the organization's job and the extent to which employee behavior is guided by rules and procedures. So the more rules and procedures and regulations are there, the more formalization is there in the organization, and the less the formalization is, less rules and regulations are there, then it is less formalized. Similarly, the communication may be formalized. People have to write properly, letters properly, with going through this proper formalized channels. Like for example, when a student comes to me, he has substituted some course and he asks me to ask me for degree audit, and he says that I have substituted this course with this course, so I have to report this to the admission and registration. Now when I do that, I cannot pick up the phone and directly talk to the director of admission and registration to tell that this student has done this, substituted this course with another elective course. I have to write a letter in which telling that this student has done this, so kindly see this substitute course as an replacement of the required course, etc. And this letter will go through the head of the department, and then from head of the department it goes to the assistant dean, academic affairs, and finally it goes to the director, admission and registration. So this is the communication channel. And the same way, if they want to reply to me, it will come to the assistant dean's office first, and then from assistant dean's office to at head of the department, and then finally to me. So this is a formalization of communication channels.